Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment, news, and random topics we bring to this card table. This week we're on spring break and we're in Mike's basement at an actual card table, and it feels awesome. Mike, how do you feel to be on spring break?
I like the feeling of the felt in between my fingers on this card table, right?
It's a good card table.
But we're not on the felt side.
No, we're not, but they don't know that.
That's Danny Stewart talking about felt.
Well, they don't know.
What color's the felt? Do you remember, Dan?
It's green.
It's a green felt.
What, Ryan? What are we talking about?
I was just kind of introing you, Dan.
Oh, good night, moon. Good night, stars. Good night, light. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. Good night, air. Ryan.
That is a quote from Life. That's a movie we're going to be...
Actually, it's a quote from Good Night, Moon.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
but it's said in life.
But Good Night, Moon is read in life.
that's correct. And we're going to be reviewing Life later in the episode. Mike, what have we got for news this week?
Earlier this week, Tom Hardy and Ridley Scott teamed up for a Netflix drama called War Party that is about a Navy SEAL team or a Navy SEAL. Not much details was given on the project, but I think what's more interesting here is the Tom Hardy side of it, because Tom Hardy is in the show Peaky Blinders. He just finished first season of Taboo, which got renewed. He's going to be in Dunkirk. He has a couple more movies coming out, and this guy's shooting schedule is getting a little ridiculous. And I don't know, more Tom Hardy is better, but I'm just... it's interesting to me that he keeps signing on for stuff, and I don't know. I just feel like it's really, really something that needs to be talked about. This guy's shooting schedule is hectic, and I feel like he does it for his fans, or I don't know. Dan, what are your opinions of it?
Well, he's a busy guy, but he's also a talented guy. So, I don't mind him being in a lot of stuff. I enjoy what he does. I think everybody kind of enjoys his acting. So, it doesn't really matter how much stuff he's in. As long as he can kind of keep his head on the fact that he's doing a lot of shit, then he can go ahead and do it because he does well in it. So, this is an awesome teaming with Ridley Scott. And again, for the 5th week in a row, we're talking about Netflix on our show.
Yeah.
And Netflix is they're making moves, man. They've got a lot of good shit coming out. So now you've got Tom Hardy and Ridley Scott working together on a project, and it's going to be pretty good. I trust them.
Do you buy Tom as a Navy SEAL?
I buy Tom as anything.
Yeah.
I buy Tom as Bane. I buy Tom as fucking the guy in Inception. I buy Tom as, I buy Tom as rumored, maybe the next James Bond, and maybe the Marvel version of, or the Disney Marvel version of Wolverine. So he could be anybody, and Tom Hardy's a very talented guy, and his time. I'd like to view his schedule.
Yeah,
actually.
that's what I was more trying to talk about.
I'd like to view his schedule because he does a lot of stuff, but I trust him. Ryan, what do you think? Huh?
We're talking about hardworking individuals. We can't forget Ridley Scott. That guy works a lot, and
he's 79.
Yeah,
he is old.
And them both being hardworking people, I just hope that this doesn't suffer from it. But all creators these days are really excited to work with Netflix because of the leeway they give you as a creator. And I have faith in it. They'll do a great job, I'm sure. But that's all I got.
I agree. Dan, what do we got next?
Don't have the thing pulled up.
I was going to do it's Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. got signed on as Dr. Dolittle. Ain't that nuts? Isn't that the crazy thing we keep talking about? Well, we talked about reboots last week.
Yeah.
And
Past couple, I think.
About how weird they kind of are. But, Robert Downey Jr., great actor. He's played Tony Stark now for the last 10 years. And he's been in other great films. He's really kind of proven himself. Great. Everybody loves Robert Downey Jr. But now he's Dr. Dolittle in this upcoming reboot of Dr. Dolittle. Now, I love Robert Downey Jr. I think I got my point across there. But Eddie Murphy's Dr. Dolittle is a film I grew up on.
Mm-hmm. Preach it.
And Eddie Murphy's Dr. Dolittle 2 is also a movie that I grew up on. So I think it's also too soon for a new Dr. Dolittle.
Guys, I'm going to ask a
They already freaking rebooted the Diary of a Wimpy Kids. We were talking about that the other day, and now they got a new trailer out. They replaced the kids and the mom and shit.
Now hold on.
They replaced everybody.
You guys are gonna hate me.
Now Dr.
But
Doolittle's
I didn't grow up on Dr. Dolittle. I even forgot what the story's about. Can you guys educate
He's
me?
a doctor who talks to animals.
That's what I
He's
thought.
like
No,
a
because I was thinking of
veterinarian
Eddie
who's good at
Murphy's.
it.
Where's the one where he's the fat guy?
That's
Nutty Professor.
Nutty Professor. So I got those two mixed up.
Okay.
And because the Nutty Professor would talk to fucking like snakes and lions.
Wait, no, that's Dr.
No,
Dolittle.
that's Dr.
No, I'm saying that is
Oh.
why I confused the
Okay.
two.
Oh.
But yeah, anything Robert Downey Jr. does, I buy into. I could definitely see him doing this for the money.
Yeah.
But
Remember
that's
that
kind of
movie-
where I'm getting out of it. Like I love Robert Downey Jr., but this just seems like a cash grab to me.
Remember that movie Norbit where Eddie Murphy plays the fat chick and
He plays his
like,
mom
the
too,
nerd?
or something, or he plays a woman. He plays a woman too.
Let's just talk about Eddie Murphy movies.
Is
for
that
a
why he
second.
disappeared from everything because he made Norbit? Like I feel
Dude,
like
I feel like after that he did
Yeah.
like the fourth Shrek movie, and then he didn't do anything like after that.
They're like,
He-
we're done here, Ed.
He showed up at the SNL 40 thing.
Yeah.
But people were saying like he didn't want to go.
I've also heard, now this is what I've heard, I don't know for certain, but I've heard he's kind of hard to work with and he's kind of a dick.
well, I
can
mean,
see that.
Yeah.
anyone in the entertainment business is kind of a weirdo, so we kind of got to have that kind of understanding going into it. But
What are your opinions of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Dolittle,
okay,
Ryan?
so the reboot culture we're in, it's gross, and they got to stop doing that. However, I think this is great casting. I think him as Dr. Dolittle is going to be great. Robert Downey Jr. is most of the time in what he plays himself, or at least the same kind of character. And I think if we kind of give the context of like an Iron Man type character or his Sherlock Holmes type character interacting with animals, that's awesome. That's going to be a good movie.
Sherlock Holmes is really underrated in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Very
Like I
good
think
movie.
it did well at the box office, but he was awesome in those
Yeah.
movies. So was Jude Law as, I forget who is
Watson.
He's
Watson.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm not. I don't know.
He doesn't follow
No,
Sherlock.
want to
It's
know
okay.
what I'm scared of though, of Robert Downey Jr. in this role, is the post Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark movie realm. Like if this movie comes out after Infinity Wars and something happens to Iron Man, and like we don't have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man anymore, and he's just fucking not black Dr. Dolittle,
Oh, that's right.
I will say this.
then
I was
we're gonna have an issue.
I was listening to an interview on Howard Stern once with Robert Downey Jr. and he said he's like kind of done making independent films because they're kind of a hassle, which kind of bums me out because he's such a good actor and he could do so many things. And those are kind of more the Oscar baity character-driven movies. And I would have liked to seen him return, but if he's not doing it, it's whatever. But also, fuck, now it escapes my mind what
He
I
was
was
good in
gonna
that
say.
movie The Judge with Robert Duvall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember
Forgot
what
to
I was
mention
gonna
that.
say as the second. Oh, he's playing Geppetto, which I'm excited
that's
for.
right.
That's awesome, and that's gonna be a musical.
Oh,
In the Disney Pinocchio?
Is that
Yeah.
Dis-
Okay.
Wait, that's Disney.
I don't know if it's
Pinocchio?
Disney. Ron Howard's directing it. I know
then
that.
it's definitely not Disney Pinocchio because
Oh.
like I would have been more hyped about it. I feel like if it was Disney.
Well,
Pinocchio, 'cause
actu-
I'm all over these Disney live action.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Dan, originally it was supposed to be Robert Downey Jr. and Paul Thomas Anderson collaborating,
really?
and it was going to be like a darker tale. I don't know if they're still sticking with the darker tale, but I know Ron Howard's directing now, and it's going to be a musical. But he said Geppetto is like his dream role, and I think that's cool that he's that serious about a role.
Oh, but if it's going to be a musical and not the Disney version, then When You Wish Upon a Star is not going.
Well, you
to
don't
be
know
in
that.
it.
Oh, yeah, because the rights.
Yeah,
Maybe. I mean, I don't know for certain if it's Disney or not.
son of a bitch.
Well,
I love that song.
so our general consensus on this Doolittle news. What are we feeling?
I just love Robert Downey Jr., but I don't
We
really
all
care.
love Robert Downey Jr. and he's going to do well, but we miss Eddie Murphy.
We miss you, Eddie Murphy. If you're listening, please come back. Our next piece of news, there's been a sort of rumor going around that the Marvel Comics character Cable has been cast. Now, this is a character who is
In
going to be
Deadpool 2.
In Deadpool 2, he's a character that is going to be featured in the story. He's a very integral Deadpool character. He travels through time, and there's been all sorts of
He's a cyborg.
He's a cyborg, and there's been all sorts of fan uproar on who should be cast as Cable, and now we're finally getting some almost definitive rumors on Michael Shannon being Cable. And now, for anyone that doesn't know, he played Zod in the Man of Steel movie and was featured in Batman vs. Superman. What do you guys think of Michael Shannon as Cable?
Well, Michael Shannon was just nominated for an Academy Award this past year for Nocturnal Animals, which he was amazing in. But
Bobby
Bobby on does anything Michael Shannon is in. I buy 100%. He can pull off the comedy, even though he always plays this stern face. They could play on his anger really well with Wade, and I think that could be a hilarious movie. Like I said, I buy anything Michael Shannon does. There's a couple other names that have been floated around, such as Kyle Chandler, David Harbour, and John Hamm. And out of the 4 that have been heavily rumored, I like Shannon the most. But any of those guys, if they are casted, I would think is awesome.
Yeah.
And those are my kind of thoughts, but I'm super stoked. They seem to be taking this Cable casting really serious, and it seems like he's going to be a really important role in Deadpool. So if they cast Michael Shannon, that's a great co-star with Ryan Reynolds, and he can play off his comedy beautifully.
They're planning for a
X-Force movie.
February 2018 release, correct?
I have no idea.
Yes. They're shooting this summer, and that's February 2018. So that's
wow.
less than a year.
So I really love Michael Shannon. He was awesome in Nocturnal Animals. He was great as Zod, and I mean, he's had an illustrious acting career. He's been acting for a long time. I've just only recently become a fan of his, though. But I really like him. In terms of he's the highest rumored. Like that kind of came out of the blue, almost like he's probably going to be it.
Yeah.
So as of right now, I feel like that's just his role. But I would have loved to see David Harbour coming off of Stranger Things. He was awesome as Hop in Stranger Things. Kyle Chandler is just Kyle Chandler. Everybody,
Coach Taylor.
Yeah, he's just Coach Taylor in Friday Night Lights, and he's just he's Kyle Chandler.
He's got a really likable presence on screen.
He's just good on the screen. So, but like Mike said, I mean, they're taking this casting pretty seriously for Cable, and whoever can complement well with Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool will be fine, because I kind of trust that whole team that puts that together. I trust Ryan Reynolds. So I'm expecting another great Deadpool movie, regardless of who's going to be Cable, but Michael Shannon would be an awesome Cable.
Yeah. And for our next piece of news, Dan, I'm sure you would want to talk about this most as our resident Disney fan. What is this piece of news here?
This is the Mulan movie. So we keep talking about reboots. We have another piece of reboot news here. So we were talking.
Is it classified as a reboot? Not to interrupt you. Is it more?
It's
just
a
an
live action remake.
Okay.
It's part of this Disney live action remake series here. We reviewed Beauty and the Beast in last week's episode. It's part of that. They've done Cinderella. They're doing Lion King.
Jungle Book.
And they did Jungle Book. They did Maleficent. But now they're doing Mulan. And this Mulan film's gotten a lot of shit thrown around about it. The director has come out and said some crazy things, like it's not going to be a musical. The main guy, Li Shang, isn't going to be in it. You guys remember the Mulan cartoon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because this is me making references to it. He said it's going to be like a girly kung fu movie, and that is not what Mulan is about. She's all about honor and family, and she wants to, be a kick-ass warrior to prove that, women can do shit too. And it's certainly not a kung fu girly adventure, which he's talking about. And did I say they weren't going to make it a musical?
Yes. I think
okay.
you did.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing, because obviously they did Beauty and the Beast, and they brought in the songs, and they did Jungle Book, and they brought in the songs, and Cinderella, they didn't bring over the songs, and I kind of hated it, and well, I didn't hate it. It just wasn't as good, compared to the Jungle Book and Beauty and the Beast. I just think if you're doing the live action remake, make people happy with the songs. It sounds like this guy's just kind of going off of his own thing. But in breaking news here, as of today, several sources reporting, including Cosmopolitan, have talked about how the Mulan live-action remake could still be a musical. So I think if people just keep getting their opinion out there about, we want this for this Mulan film, I think the director or Disney has no choice but to listen to what the fans want, I don't want to take creativity away from a director, because I'm all for, directors taking chances and taking shots at doing something of their own. But when you're messing around with a Disney classic like Mulan, then you're gonna get a lot more angry and upset people than happy people. But again, the movie hasn't been made yet or anything, so really nothing is definitive yet. But, you know, myself as a Disney fan, and I know a lot of other Disney fans would be upset if they kind of just trashed Mulan instead of making her like a powerful, strong woman and not a girly kung fu adventure.
How
type.
the director described it, I thought of Kill Bill, like like you said, like a samurai movie, and
Well, he said like girly.
okay,
Like,
so now maybe not Kill Bill, but
Like-
also what this says to me is
if it was like Kill Bill, then I'd be fine with it. But like the way he said it and like the tone of the interview, saying like there's not going to be musicals, like the love interest is going to be like way like they're taking out Li Shang for some other character who's supposed
No,
to be
like, I get that.
more of a love interest, and it's going to be like a really frilly, not what Mulan is about type of movie.
What this says to me is that so the director comes out and says one thing, and then a couple other sources come out and say another thing, I don't even think this script is finished.
Yeah.
And I think they were just given some insight. And that's kind of my whole thing about it. I think they're maybe testing the waters by that initial interview, seeing what people wanted. I think it's too early to get on this movie. That's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't know because they haven't even done any casting, have they?
I'm not sure. I know. Wait, there might have been like a whitewashing incident with this. I feel like they might have like casted this film with white people instead of Asian people.
I have no idea.
I felt like I heard about that, but I really don't know. But it's slotted for 2018, so they're they're like kicking it in the gear to go from pre-production to production.
They got some time to finish up, but yeah, I don't really. All it sounds like to me is it's an unfinished script. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, we talked about this earlier this week in our little texting group message, and when you look at the full quote of what the director described it, and by the way, her name is Nikki Caro.
Yeah,
we were
her,
saying
I thought it was
she.
a her. I
Yeah.
didn't want to interrupt Dan.
But she describes this as a movie of scope and it's an incredible muscular piece of girly martial arts extravaganza in China. So when you take muscular into it, we really and the movie hasn't been made, you know. So she wants to make a movie that it won't be girly, but it'll have women, you know, being awesome.
It sounds like powerful women,
which is a
that's
good
what
thing.
that's great.
You know? But it hasn't been made. And we don't necessarily know if the movie's going to change anything yet. I mean, obviously it's missing a character as of now, but it hasn't been shot. Things are always subject to change. And, I mean, look at the way that the Jungle Book diverted from the actual story. We had only 2 musical numbers, and they took the whole story in a different direction, and it was awesome. I really liked the whole new message it made with mankind sort of being a destructive power.
Yes.
And they could take Mulan in that sort of same direction and enhance it. It could be different. It could be a whole sort of different movie, you know, tonally.
Yeah, you could have musical numbers, but like it doesn't have to be a musical.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know?
but the Jungle Book didn't deviate too far from the cartoon. I mean, the Jungle Book cartoon's like 70 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
like
expanded, like Ryan said.
They
yeah.
had to expand it a bit, but relatively it was the same. And the Jungle Book only really had 2 musical numbers anyway. I'm pretty
And
sure.
it was
That's what he
tasteful.
said,
It was
yeah.
really well done.
No. I mean like the cartoon.
That I do not know.
There was
I'm
more
not
than
sure.
2. I mean, there was the King Louis one. There's the one with
That one
Yeah,
and the Baloo are both
I
in
want
the
to. That's I
movie.
want to be like you, and that's
Bare
Bare
Necessities.
Necessities. Those are the only 2 that are in the cartoon.
You sure?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years, so
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that.
And
Do you know Tim?
Beauty and the Beast. I mean, we already talked about Beauty and the Beast last week, but I mean, they kept all the original songs, added a few more. And you know, like the additions are okay, but I mean, they were still like, but still like they kept true to the cartoon, and that's what people enjoyed. People didn't enjoy Cinderella as much because they deviated away from it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not judging the film so far, like I said, I mean it needs to play out, but I'm saying so far from Disney's standpoint, when they're making these cartoon to live action films, people have been enjoying Beauty and the Beast, and people love Jungle Book and Maleficent, because Maleficent was an original story. They Maleficent, the only thing Maleficent was in Sleeping Beauty. She didn't really have a story. That gave Maleficent a story, so that was original, and people loved that. Cinderella was, cartoon to live action, and they changed things. They still stayed to the story, but they changed things, and like the mice not talking and not making it a musical that pissed people off. So that's my point here with the Mulan thing. Like, I'm not trying to trash it or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, so far with these Disney cartoon to live action, when they've deviated away from the cartoon, people have tended not to like it.
Okay, no, I agree with that.
So that's just
early.
kind of my viewpoint.
Yeah.
On it.
It is too early to say as well. So like we'll see. As time goes on.
We'll see.
What else have we got, Mike?
Last bit of news is there was a Baywatch trailer this week, and honestly, I did not. I heard about this reboot, and I was like, okay, here we go. But I watched the trailer, and I got more of a 21 Jump Street vibe than I did a shitty movie. There was some in the Red Band trailer. The comedy was actually hitting, and it looked like The Rock and Zac Efron actually had some really good comedy together. It looked like there might be some fun action in it. It actually looked like what it was supposed to be. It doesn't look like it's taking itself too serious. And I was expecting to hate this movie. And again, I haven't seen it, but I like everything I've seen so far. And that's kind of, I don't know, it was a good trailer. It was fun. What'd you think?
It looks like a good time, and I really have nothing else to say. I want to see this movie.
Yeah.
I know it's probably not going to be awesome. It's not going to be like the best comedy ever, but it looks fun. I would pay to see it. Dan, What do you think?
Well, I mean, when they did original casting and when they announced it, I was like, oh, The Rock, and he's in another stupid summer blockbuster movie, and it's impossible to dislike The Rock, and then I saw the pairing with Zac Efron, and he's done like Neighbors and that movie with Robert De Niro, and then the Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, and he's kind of done some of those
The buddy comedies,
as of late. And I was just like, oh no, they're gonna do that to Baywatch, and it's gonna be shitty. But the trailer that came out made me want to see it.
Yeah,
I was surprised. I was just like, okay, I kind of want to see this because I got that same vibe. It kind of looks like it's gonna be a 21 or a 22 Jump Street vibe rather than like a stupid movie. So I'm interested, and I'm actually gonna go see it. Before I was just like, I'm definitely not seeing Baywatch, but I want to see it, and Alexandria Daddario's in it, and
was coming.
She's very attractive, and I'd hold hands with her.
Anything with not to get away from that, she is very attractive. But what I was about to say sounded a little different than I was going to say, like, I'd see anything where The Rock's giving off that like $1 million smile he's got going on.
He's a charming
Rock's a man. You want to know? Wrestler guy's beard. He kind of has a deep voice, like he's big, scary guy. Is his name like the Big Show or something like that?
Yeah.
He was on Conan last night, and he was saying like after their WWE events, they used to all go out for drinks, and The Rock went. He always wanted to go to like a karaoke bar to sing.
That does not surprise me.
And the Big Show's like, nah, fuck that. And Big Show is just like, but now look who's starring in 1 to 2 blockbuster movies every summer. He's just like, I wish I could do what The Rock's doing. And then he was talking about Dave Bautista and the Guardians. Like, so wrestlers have kind of gotten big in these things, and The Rock is awesome about that.
Also, John Cena's starting to get in movies, and it's kind of cool to think about, though, that like these like wrestlers can kind of mold into action heroes. Say what you want about WWE. The Rock, his story's awesome. If you guys have ever read about it, he came from like nothing, and what he's made of himself is really cool. And you watch his interviews, most charming guy ever. Dave Bautista, really shy and humble in interviews. He looks like he kicked the shit out of anyone.
Yeah, and
he's really nice. And you could tell how happy he is. Watch his interviews about Skyfall. And you could see he's been in a Guardians in a Marvel movie at this point. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's so excited. And in Skyfall, he is like not Skyfall, sorry, Spectre. He has like a couple of lines in it, and he's in it a lot. Apparently, he's like a henchman, whatever. But watch his interview, and he's so humble about it, and it's really cool to see these guys kind of break a wall and get past the fake WWE and actually achieve in the movie world. I think that's cool.
Yeah. No, it's good to see these wrestlers getting really big roles and stuff like that. You would never expect them to be huge stars like this, but it's awesome.
And it's not like they're the best actors, but you can make a role where they can fit well in
Absolutely.
it.
Well, The Rock's big time. I mean,
He can actually act.
He's like good actor. You know, he's in with Disney. He's done a couple of Disney films. Like he's in. You know, like Rock's,
He's in.
Rock's awesome.
Yeah,
Rock's awesome.
for
He's
sure.
Great, and yeah, excited for Baywatch. That's what this was about.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Got a little off topic, guys.
We have
That's
been a
Jameson
little bit
kicking in.
That's all right.
This has been some good news.
We only get off topic here.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good point.
Now, we saw a movie today.
We did.
What was that movie?
Life, not of Pi, just
No,
life.
I wish it was Life of Pi. Life of Pi was a good movie. This wasn't.
Dan, give me your initial thoughts on the movie Life, which is a sci-fi. Let's tell people what the movie's about first.
Okay, so the movie's about a mission from Mars. It seems to be in like the near future, and it's about these astronauts, a couple from Russia, one from Japan, like a couple from Britain, and a couple from America, and they're on the International Space Station, and they intercept like a capsule that was on Mars, and it has life on it, and then the thing like. It has like all brain cells and muscle cells, and it's really like crazy, and it goes nuts on them, and they kind of have to make decisions on to kill it or how they have to sacrifice themselves so it doesn't get down to Earth, and
You got to save Earth.
yeah, so you got to save Earth regardless. But my initial thoughts of the film was, hey, this could be interesting. The trailer seemed good, all of that. The initial reviews were good, and I was like, okay, walking into today, I was excited to see the movie. And this is the spoiler-free part of our review here. It was so, like...
disappointing.
It was just not what I thought it was going to be, like a quarter of the way through the movie, I knew how it was going to end. Very predictable, got very cliche. The acting was like, okay. And it just didn't feel like the actors were really into it,
Well, it felt like they weren't given a lot to work with.
No.
They just had to deliver lines.
Yeah.
It's kind of, that's what it felt like. They were just in the scenario. It's like, oh, like, look at it, look scared. Like, that's kind of what it felt like to me.
They're like, you just watched your astronaut friend. Oh, I'm about to do a spoiler.
Someone dies. That's it. No
you
spoilers.
didn't get too
Watched
far.
a friend.
Does anybody care? They just watched a friend's hand get fucking broken by this thing.
That's actually in the trailer.
And like fucking broken. Like his hand was like, it no longer had bones in it. It was just a mass of flesh just hanging down. And they're like, oh, we need to get him out of there. Like it wasn't, we need to get him out of there. It was.
Well, there was a moment of that, then it stopped.
Well, it was only Jake Gyllenhaal. It was only
Reynolds did
Jake
it too.
Gyllenhaal.
Reynolds and Gyllenhaal did it.
Yeah, but Reynolds,
No, move on.
All right. All right. So, this was a disappointing film. It was predictable. It was just so, oh man.
What did you like about it, though?
What did I like about it?
There was, you had to like some of it, right?
I liked kind of the like when the comm system they were trying to communicate to Earth what was going on up in the space station, and they like couldn't get to it, and it kind of like I was just like, okay, that's actually kind of cool. I like that. Like they're kind of, it's just it's just the Martian and them.
You felt like a shit hitting the
And-
feeling kind
yeah,
of thing?
like
shit hitting the fan.
It kind of
feeling.
it created a feeling of solitude with this creature, and in terms of a horror film, it did that very well. There were points where I did actually feel like terrified of this creature, but overall the film didn't really deliver as like a memorable film. So those are just my feelings for it. Until we can get into spoilers, that's what I'm gonna say about it.
Ryan, what about you?
This movie was predictable. I at points was entertained because, as Dan said, like I was actually quite terrified at points like that, and it made this movie feel worthwhile. But I would never watch it again. You absolutely knew what was going to happen. At points later in the movie, you knew how the scene was going to play out. You knew the roles the characters were going to fill. But it was, a fun special effects space extravaganza, and I wouldn't recommend it.
Girly space.
Yeah, it was masculine and girly, and Disney's making it. It's great. Mike, what do you think? I don't have much else.
Are true. Just so you know, none of those are true.
First off, I agree with everything you guys just said. I also didn't like it. I was also disappointed. I liked the special effects. I thought the special effects were good. The characters were all weak in this movie. There was nothing. They tried really hard to give like certain scenes of exposition, like, oh, this is what I used to do in my past life.
Oh God, yeah.
But it's like so forced, and you can feel it. And like the first like 10 minutes of this movie, they try so hard to just make you feel about these characters. But again, it turns predictable, and I was so disappointed with. I thought Ryan Reynolds was good. I thought he played the role he was supposed to. He wasn't in it a ton, but I was so disappointed, not with Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, but with what he was given. He wasn't given anything, and Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the best actors working right now. Like, he is in his prime. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of disappointing when he doesn't hit it out of the park. And I guess that's just high expectations, but that was a bummer. The creature was way too OP. It was so overpowered. It was like so. Again, it played to the predictability. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked. The character choices were stupid, and there's a fucking scene where he's like, "Oh, we need that fuel to fly, but try to burn the fucking thing." Like, oh yeah, that's logical. You're a scientist. That makes sense.
They weren't very efficient.
Like, come on.
Being world-renowned scientists.
All of them were scientists except for Ryan Reynolds, he said. Well, I mean, he was like a welder or a plumber back home.
Yeah, that was one of the things he said. And I'm like, all right, that's clearly forced in there.
Yeah. I mean, but not really. I mean, I liked his line. He's like, I'm a plumber back home. There are a million people that can do my job. There's one person that can do your job.
Yeah.
That was a really good line. I like that. But oh man, can we get into spoiler territory, please?
Yeah, we are now
getting my last thoughts.
Oh yeah, Mike, last thoughts.
I'm with you guys. There was moments where I liked it. There was a couple scenes that were actually really well shot and tense.
Yeah.
But as a whole, the ending was awful.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was just disappointed.
Well, hey, since not everyone's going to be listening to the spoilers here, should we give our new scale? Should we intro that and give our rating?
Yes.
Okay. Should I intro it or do you want?
Sure.
Okay. Can I get the paper? So
we've got a new movie rating scale that we're going to have consistently here on the Creatively Challenged podcast. As we do review a movie every week, we thought we'd come up with our own rating scale that's going to have our movie reviews listed under. And what we're going to do is we're going to rate movies based on Jeff Goldblum and his appearances in films. So
the best Goldblum films.
So the best Goldblum films. Ryan, you've got the list there.
So I pitched this on the way home from Life,
and I loved it.
And so we're on a scale here of 1 out of 5.
1 to 5 Goldblums.
1 to 5 Goldblums here, and so 5 is being the best. Obviously, 5 is Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park is amazing.
Ian Malcolm.
Yeah,
Chaos
Ian Malcolm.
Theory, phenomenal.
In 4, we have Independence Day, a very very great role by Jeff Goldblum. So that's 4 out of 5 Jeff Goldblums, as we would say if we were to give a movie that. Third is The Fly. This movie has a cult following.
Solid movie.
But he's gross looking because he's all Cronenberg. Yeah.
He's all Cronenberg.
Yeah. So that's a 3 out of 5 Jeff Goldblums, and 2 out of 5 is something that I've never seen, but Mike said it's something. It's Jeff Goldblum in The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. I don't know what the hell that movie is, but it's 2 out of 5. It's probably horrible. And 1 out of 5 is Independence Day Resurgence. Possibly one of the worst movies of 2016.
It was the worst.
Was the
in
worst
my
movies
opinion.
of 2016.
It was fucking terrible.
And so,
that or Ninja Turtles.
Man, I saw those like back-to-back weeks or something. I was getting ready to call it quits in the bathtub.
Right. So, on our inaugural rating with our new scale, we give Life a 3 out of 5 Goldblums. That is
No, 2.5.
2.5.
2.5 Goldblums. We're half a Goldblum short of The Fly.
It's not as good as The Fly.
We need more Goldblum.
Yeah.
This movie needed more Goldblum.
This gets an Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. That's a 2 out of 5 Goldblums
mixture.
on the Goldblum scale.
We could round up to The Fly, but really, I'm more of a rounding down kind of guy to Buckaroo Banzai.
Hey, listen, it's in between. That's all we're saying. We're not selling to one or the other.
2.5. We're
Just
going 2.5.
overall, this film needed more Goldblum.
I'll say
Okay.
one thing.
I agree.
In a detailed sense. If you're interested in seeing this movie, catch it on Blu-ray or DVD. Don't go pay and see it.
Yeah.
See it on TV.
on Redbox.
Well, no,
don't buy it.
No, I'm not saying buy. I'm saying more of a rental the rental sake.
Yeah,
Just
go to Redbox.
Yeah, rent it.
But there you go. 2.5 Goldblums out of 5.
2.5 Goldblums.
2.5
Definitely-
Goldblums.
Definitely needed more Goldblum.
And now we are approaching spoiler territory. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to get spoiled for life, stop listening. Just cut it out,
And
okay?
come back later.
We're going to spoil this
look
movie.
at the timestamp
All right?
in the description.
Cut it out. Stop listening. We're going to talk about the movie. Plot things are going to be revealed. What do you guys have to say?
I personally, one of my favorite things of the movie is when they killed off Ryan Reynolds. Not because they killed off. Okay, first off, the blood looked shitty. The CGI blood looked bad.
Well, I mean, it was in space with zero G's.
I get what they were trying to do. It just looked weird.
Okay.
And I feel like it
Okay.
could have been more gross, is what they were going for. But I like that they did that. They advertised him as one of the 3 main stars in this movie, and he dies within the first 15, 20 minutes. And he was really good in those scenes. Like I thought he was the best part of the movie, and he wasn't even in it hardly. And I think that's what the worst part about it was. But I like that they actually killed him off. Did you, Dan?
I mean, yeah,
some shock value.
there was shock value in that, and it was actually a really good move on a part of the advertising team for the film as well as the director to kind of do that. But he had like the best lines of the film. He was like the best character of the film, and
Yeah.
he died in like the first 20 minutes, so that was kind of disappointing, And in terms of like fucking, oh man, like they named the thing fucking Chester or fucking Lester or whatever.
Calvin.
Calvin Coolidge. That's
Yeah.
what it was.
You know what? It would have been a better movie if it was named Lester. Can you imagine? Like Lester's on the move.
That sounds more like a dark comedy.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But like, oh man, like they can't get this thing. Like it just like kills everybody in every way. And it's just, oh man, like Mike said, it's just overpowered, and the whole thing, it was just like you were just like, how do they beat this thing? And then in the end, they don't. They fucking don't. And you knew it, and you knew, because at the beginning of the movie when they're doing all those,
Easy on the table. It's making a lot of noise here.
oh sorry, at the beginning of the movie and they're giving everybody's background, frickin'
Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal's like about to be the man who's longest in space, and he's been up there for like 2 years, and he's like, oh, I don't have a family, I like it up here. And it's just like, okay, then he's gonna, at the end of the movie, he is gonna stay up in space with the creature, and that is the decision that is made at the end of the movie for him to go out into space with this creature. And you want to know what happens? Something gets fucked up with the space pods, and he ends up on Earth with the thing, and we all die. Everybody on Earth dies, and that's the end of the movie. Lame. It was so
Yeah.
fucking stupid. You were just like, I knew something was going to get fucked up with that takeoff. I knew that Gyllenhaal was going to be on, like, oh, man.
Well,
Oh,
you
this
saw
was
me when
so
the movie
bad.
ended. I threw my hands up and I just went, that was a stupid ending.
And then during the credits start and Gyllenhaal's going like, no, and everybody's gonna die on Earth. And then they do "Spirit in the Sky" by Norman Greenbaum to start the credits. I'm like, that doesn't match what just happened at all.
Totally off tonally. Yeah. What the hell was that?
It was so dumb.
It's one of the greatest songs ever made.
Yeah, but like it didn't match. And well, Ryan said it. Now every space movie ever has to have that song.
It's
in
in
there.
way too many movies now. It was in.
Is
It
it
was
in
in
The Martian?
It was
It was
in
in
Kong.
Guardians.
It was in. Yeah, The
it was
Martian
in
had
The
it, if I'm not
Martian.
But
mistaken.
Martian's a great movie.
Yeah, it's fine with The Martian. We'll let that slide. But I mean, the movie that the crew had like these sort of firewalls as they called it. So they had these sort of precautions that they followed to make sure the creature didn't cause any harm. And Jesus Christ, they kept trying to just survive the creature in such stupid ways. If I were the captain of that crew, I would have said, we're going to fly this into the fucking sun. Let's forget about this. We're all going to die, or everyone else on Earth will. So let's just go into the sun, guys. Let's call it, all right?
Or just fly, like when he's when the guy's like, we have gotten into Earth's atmosphere, and it's like, oh, we should fly away, and then at the end he's like, oh, like, I'll launch the pod into space. It's like, you should have done that from the fucking beginning.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like they're all supposed to be astrophysicists and fucking like scientists and NASA and all that shit, and they're the most stupid people ever of all time. Ryan Reynolds was like the plumber on the fucking mission, and he seemed to be the wisest.
Yeah, what the hell?
You know, and then they kill him 20 minutes into the movie, and it would have been a better movie, I think, if he was in.
Ryan, what'd you think of Reynolds being killed off?
Dude, it sucked. He, like, as we all just said, he was probably the best character. He should have been like the main character. That would have been really great.
Actually, hold on. He was supposed to be, but he was shooting something else.
Get out of here, really?
At the same time, and that's why they cut his role to that.
Dude, that
I read
sucks.
that. I mean, it sucks, but like, maybe you don't hold the same opinion. I thought it was good shock value because he was advertised as.
You're right. You're right.
Like one of the guys.
Well, I mean, in the trailers, they show him getting face fucked by the creature.
I just didn't know when it was going to happen.
face
true.
I expected that was going to happen later on in the film, but then that was like a classic Bryan Cranston and Godzilla move right there.
It was.
Yeah.
So if you remember, Godzilla was advertised like Bryan Cranston's going to be like the main character in it, and then he gets killed like 20 minutes in.
Godzilla's a far superior movie to this.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. I could name 100 movies that are better than this right now.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed, you know? Like, we should have gone to fucking see the, like, Beauty and the Beast or
No,
Logan
I'm happy
again.
I'm happy we saw
Well,
this
I'm
'cause
glad
we
we
could
saw
review it
like
for
a
everyone.
shitty movie, you know, because now, you know, on our 5th podcast, you know, for 4 straight weeks we've seen good movies, you know. So I mean, it's good that we're kind of shaking it up by seeing a shitty movie, you know?
Refreshing the palate, as it were.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was there was one more thing what did you guys think of like I don't mean to call him the black guy, but he was the black guy.
black
I can't remember his
gentleman.
name.
Cripple.
Was he like?
He was
he was crippled.
That's another way
What did you guys
being
think
offensive.
of him like having a fondness for the alien? It was so thrown in there and like dumb.
That's just like I understood it. Like it's like in Jurassic Park, like the scientist with the white beard, like he loves the dinosaurs and shit.
No, John Hammond is way better than this.
Yeah,
guy.
well, yeah, I know,
Agreed.
I know, but like. You know, like you kind of like research your whole life hoping that like there's life beyond Earth, and he finds it. Like I get it, but it was so fucking cliche. Like I mean, obviously, like he's supposed to play a guy who's seeing life past Earth for the first time, and that's supposed to kind of be cliche. But he did it in the most cliche, dumb way possible. And when it's already killed 2 of his fucking like teammates on the fucking ship, he's like still like in love with it, and didn't tell his other teammates that it was in the pod with them. It was attached to his leg for like an hour before he told his teammates that it was locked in the same room as them.
It was dumb. It was a dumb plot.
And you want to know? And you want to know what too? Gyllenhaal's playing around with the tracker at the beginning, and he like puts it on his shoulder, and like you see on his little computer, he's got it on his shoulder. I said at that moment in my head, I was like, they're gonna use that to track the alien later.
Yeah.
And guess what? They did. The alien swallowed a tracker, and that's how they followed it. And
Just happened to swallow a tracker.
And that's the thing, dude. For like 5 minutes, they track it, and then they stop tracking it. Why did you stop tracking it? Like you could have. Oh my God, this movie was just.
It wasn't that bad. It was just
It's
like
just
the
not- well, it's not.
the logic.
Yeah,
the logic.
not a
is
logical
not
movie.
Good.
Yeah,
It
the
is
logic is
not
just frustrating.
good. Oh man, just disappointed.
Are we
Again, I'll
good on
I'm
it?
just-
Yeah, do we- any final thoughts?
I've said my piece.
Okay,
I'm-
well-
I don't want to get mad about it.
You know, as Jeff Goldblum, as Ian Malcolm says in Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Oh my God, he
And
does say that.
He does say that. Life was the title of the movie we just reviewed. And I was going to use that as a nice old segue into our next topic, which is the best movie one-liner. Now, that's a great one-liner by Jeff Goldblum right there. Our favorite guy on the podcast here. We named a scale after him.
Jeff Goldblum is awesome.
Mike, what is your favorite movie one-liner?
I'm going to give some honorable mentions.
Okay.
Joe Pesci, Goodfellas, funny how.
Oh, yeah.
Clown, I make you laugh. That is one of my favorites. Another is The Dude Abides. They Call It a Royale with Cheese is one of my favorites from Pulp Fiction.
Good.
From Wolf of Wall Street, Benny fucking Hanna. Another one of my favorites. My favorite, however, all time is Kevin Spacey. The last line of The Usual Suspects is, "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist." And like that,
Wow.
he's gone. That is my favorite movie one-liner of all time, and it perfectly ends a great movie. Dan, I know you've never seen it, so I
haven't
won't
seen
spoil
Suspects,
it.
yeah.
Usual Suspects is one of my favorite movies ever, and that is one of my favorite. That is my favorite line ever. As I said, it is such a great concluding sentence to a great character that you don't know who he is until the final line of the movie. I won't get more into it because it will spoil it, but I love that movie and I love that line so much, and it's just so catchy.
Do you ever use it in real life? Does it mean anything
No,
to
because
you
it
like
sounds
that?
cynical as fuck.
It'd be
if I
weird
ever
to
said
say that in public with friends.
No, people would be like, Jesus Christ, who is this guy? But
Yeah.
in terms of a movie, like that line like made the movie like punch that much harder, and it made it a classic for me. And that's kind of what, like, there's a lot of movies that have these great twists, and you're like, oh, you didn't see that coming. And then you watch The Usual Suspects, and you're like, wow. So I'm dancing around it here because some people here haven't seen it, but that is my favorite one.
Dances with Wolves. It's a good movie.
Did I say dances?
Yeah.
Dancing around it.
Stars Kevin.
That's Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
One Best Picture over Goodfellas.
Yes.
Which was fucking. That's a. Come on. What are you doing?
Dances with Wolves is a really good movie, though. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Well, then don't judge it.
Okay, but
fair.
that is
That's
why
fair.
that is 100% fair. But that is
No, but I
widely
know.
held by everyone.
I love
Good.
Goodfellas better because I mean it's a better film. But I mean, Dances with Wolves is a really great film as well. But we're not talking about the 1992 Academy Awards here. My favorite one-liners of all time. I'll do a few honorable mentions. Got to go with the Star Wars ones. May the Force be with you is one I actually use.
I knew you were gonna say that, so that's why I didn't.
It's one I actually use, like I do say that, and I love, you gotta do Han Solo. I love Never Tell Me the Odds. I love that one.
Oh, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you. Another great Han Solo one is I Love You. I know. That's
with
another
Leia.
great one.
I love the Harry Potter in the final Harry Potter film where Voldemort says, "Harry Potter, the boy who lived, come to die." That's a great one. And I'll call this one a two-liner. I just love, just because it happens in several Harry Potter films and books. Just when Expelliarmus and Avada Kedavra is said at the same time, it's just fantastic.
Goblet of Fire.
Yep. And then I'd say there are so many more that I could say, but I think my favorite one-liner of all time is, it's just inspirational. I love it. It's from my favorite movie ever. It's Shawshank Redemption. You either get busy living, you get busy dying. And both Red and Andy say it, and it's a great line.
It's very true.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
It means a lot, and you could kind of apply it to any situation. And it's said by the two main characters of the film, and it's my favorite one-liner. It's a good one.
It's a great one.
My favorite comes from Cool Hand Luke. Not one of my favorite movies, a great movie.
Oh,
But it
fantastic,
doesn't
yeah.
make any lists, though I don't have any lists. But the line goes, "What we've got here is a failure to communicate." And that
Can you say it more like the guy, though?
And what we
What we've got here is a failure to communicate.
Now this line it has there's a great little dialogue that follows that in the movie. If you haven't seen Cool Hand Luke, I highly recommend it. But it's my favorite one-liner because it's the one I probably use most of my life, because so many times in life you find yourself in some stupid situation and it's always a failure of communication.
Mostly with texting.
Very much so. Very much so.
And idiots.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid assholes not
Yeah.
knowing what
That's
you're
very
talking
general.
Yeah.
what you're talking about. I just cracking that out on them, just saying what we've got here is a failure to communicate, and then they don't know the movie you're talking about, so then you further your assumption that they're a fucking idiot. But Ryan, let's hear some more for you.
But yeah, some of the best quotes come from books, movies, and television, and usually they're the best ones are the ones that apply to our lives very much. And I would think this is one of the most applicable in my life, at least, and that goes as my favorite. And I have no honorable mentions. I did not research this.
I have one more to mention, is from No Country for Old Men, when Anton says, "What's the most you ever lost from a coin toss?"
Oh,
That's
a
another
good scene.
That's a
Good
good
scene.
That's a
That's
great
good.
scene.
Absolutely.
It's Benicio and Sicario. Time to meet God.
That's another. That is intimidating as fuck. You get Benicio laying back in his chair, pointing a pistol at the guy, and just says, "Time to meet God," and he shoots all the guy's kids. Wow.
What else is a good one? The Departed, which was on today, is on AMC. One of my all-time favorite films. It's, Frank Costello, who's played by Jack Nicholson, he goes, "How's your mother?" And this guy sitting at the bar goes, "She's on her way out." And he replies back, "We all are. Act accordingly."
That's a good one. Another good one of Frank's is he goes, "Do you do well in school?" And Colin says, "Yes, I do." And he goes, "Yeah, I did too. They call that a paradox."
You guys are so good with quotes. I don't remember anything like this.
Well, that's what happens when you
When
watch a movie
over
excessive.
and over
Okay,
again.
okay.
And when The Departed is on AMC or where, I mean, we watch The Departed a lot anyway. I mean, it's been
Anything with Scorsese we watch excessively.
Well, yeah, and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and whatever's on
Tarantino.
TV, whatever's on TV, just excessively. Like we're pretty good with those lines. Yeah. All right, but are we getting into the next topic? 'Cause
Yeah.
we can just sit here and name one line.
Yeah, no,
we
we
can
Mike-
literally do that for a while.
Mike, why don't you walk us into this topic? Who does this come from this week?
This comes from my father.
A good man.
Big
Good
Joe
man, been
Stewart.
listening to our podcast. He's enjoying it, obviously, because one of his kids is doing it and his son's friends. But if you guys could have a drink with one entertainer, who would it be? Dan, I will shift it to you because I know you have an answer.
Yeah. Well, I've always kind of had one celebrity I want to meet before I die. I think it's a realistic goal to have for people to kind of do that, to kind of meet their heroes and everything like that. But, I mean, just to get to drinking age and to sit down and maybe have a drink with somebody, I think would be even cooler. I do want to make a quick shout out to the person who used to be was Robin Williams. Was definitely the one person I wanted to meet before I
That's a good
died,
one.
and it still breaks my heart that he left us too soon. But then somebody else moved into the number one spot. Well, there's always one spot reserved for Robin Williams, but Conan O'Brien is somebody who is a huge influence on me for being an Irish, awkward, funny guy. Like, I am all of those things, or at least try to be. I cannot be Conan O'Brien. He's just he just can make comedy anywhere. And he's so good at just being funny, and he just seems like a down-to-earth guy, and I really do want to meet him. He's one guy that I do want to meet, just talk about things, kind of...
What specifically would you talk about?
Just kind of where he gets his influences. I mean, I don't know how deep people would get into where they get their stuff from or, like, why he's the way he is. But just kind of, see if I could, pick him. Just see if I can, pick his brain, see kind of what he's about. I kind of enjoy just breaking people down, see what they're really about, just kind of really knowing who somebody is. And I know you guys pretty well, and I typically know people. I know how they work to try and dig deep, try and get to know more about them, and to do that with Conan O'Brien would be really cool. But if I never do that with Conan O'Brien, of course I'd have wine with Natalie Portman.
Leave it at that. Leave it at that.
We'd have wine, we'd have dinner, and I don't know where it goes after that, but we'd have a good time.
I would personally, I have a couple honorable mentions. Comedian Joey Coco Diaz is one of them. I don't laugh as hard at that guy as I do at anybody. So he is right up there. I would love to meet that guy. He's so funny. And then but probably the person I would want to have a drink with, the more I thought about the person I'd want to have a drink with and just talk to shit about, I have favorite actors and actresses and stuff, but who is the one person I'd want to have a drink with? I would love to have a drink and party with Chris Pratt. He is so awesome in interviews, and he's so funny, and I feel like he'd be a great guy to drink with and just talk. Apparently he's a big Seattle Seahawks fan, so I feel like he's pretty knowledgeable with sports. I feel like and he used to be a fat guy.
Oh yeah.
He used to be a
Relatable.
fat guy. So he's very relatable. And I feel like there's a lot to talk about with him, and he seems from his interviews like a really down-to-earth guy, so I would love to meet Chris Pratt. Another Parks and Rec star I would love to talk to and have a drink with is Nick Offerman. I'd want to go camping and hunting with Nick Offerman. Those are two guys that I would really want to meet, but again, Nick Offerman plays Ronald Ulysses Swanson in Parks and Rec, one of my all-time favorite comedy characters. But Ryan, who would you like to have a drink with?
I have a question about your question. When you say entertainer, do they have to be an actor, actress, or someone in
movie, music, television, someone famous?
Just
That's
anything.
it.
Because then
entertainer.
that changes things. Because then if I could have a drink with anyone, it would be David Bowie for sure. He's one of my favorite people. I've read a bunch of books on the guy, and I think he's just like a really interesting guy. He's had a storied life, and he's got to have so many stories. One of the things I value most in life, more than anything, is someone who can tell a story about anything, really. My original answer was going to be Harrison Ford, because he's had a very storied life. He started as a carpenter before he really picked up in auditions.
He started as a stuntman too,
That's right.
If I believe.
Yeah. And so, like, anyone that could really carry a story or has a life that is full of stories would be something. But I would say David Bowie. Ultimately, he's one of my favorite artists.
What do you guys talk about?
I don't want to. What would you talk about with David Bowie? And then I'll ask you what I was going to ask you.
Everything in his life kind of seems like he's kind of veiled behind a curtain, and I kind of want to, like, as Dan was saying, like, pick his brain on things and kind of figure out what made him who he is, things that kind of defined his life, overcoming addiction and alcoholism. And I guess he'd be drinking water. I would probably have water with him too. He was an alcoholic, so there's that too. Yeah. We'd have some water.
I'd assume you'd listen to tunes as well.
I'd have him pick that. I'd have him pick the music.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
It's always funny. Like, I love watching interviews with Paul McCartney because he just loves music and he listens to so many other musicians, and like seeing musicians listen to other music is really cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like they're not self-indulgent.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But Ryan, so David Bowie's your number one. He unfortunately passed at the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams was always my guy, and he obviously passed. So when David Bowie passed, you said Harrison Ford. Did Harrison Ford move up into like the number one spot since he's still alive, or like who's the person alive that you would go with?
I mean, again, this is I didn't really think too deep into this. It was just somebody who I think would
Definitely,
be really a good talk. It's very hard to say
hard
my
to
favorite.
pick.
Yeah, because I still want to have a conversation
Yeah.
with Robin Williams someday.
Yeah,
maybe.
I would love to as well. He's a very interesting man.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah,
R.I.P.
of
to
anybody.
both David Bowie and
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
Yeah.
No. All right. Well, that just got sad. Let's try and brighten the mood a little bit.
Oh, we and of course, we'd all love to talk to Jeff Goldblum. We can't forget.
Oh my God, dude, Jeff Goldblum! And I feel like he's such a great conversation.
Not with the fly costume. on,
just
though.
No, Jesus,
just
get that
not
out.
all
it seems like-
Cronenberg.
dude, he and Conan are like good friends. Whenever Jeff Goldblum's on Conan, like they just have such weird conversations. Like Jeff Goldblum, oh my God, he's such
Have you
a
ever
weird guy.
Have you guys ever seen the skit where Goldblum's on SNL and Will Ferrell's Harry Carey?
No, I haven't seen that with him.
Holy shit, you have to look it up.
Okay.
It is so funny. Jeff Goldblum's like a scientist, and Will Ferrell is Harry Carey, and he's trying to ask him scientific questions.
Oh, is this the mad cow disease one?
Yeah. Would you rather be the best scientist in your field or get mad cow disease? He's like, I think I'd rather be the best scientist in my field.
The only Harry Carey Will Ferrell I've seen is when he goes, "If you were a hot dog,
That's the one.
would you eat yourself?"
That's the one.
Oh, okay. I love that question.
That's great, man. Love Goldblum, love Will Ferrell. Drinking with Will Ferrell, I feel like it'd be a good time.
I feel like he'd get off the wall.
Yeah. It's funny, like
He'd be doing blow next to me or some shit like that.
I don't think he does that. He's got kids. Like, I mean,
Probably.
I mean, he's like,
He's in the Lego movie.
yeah. I mean, like he was out with Andy Richter. And like Andy Richter's kids and his kids like go to the same school, and Will Ferrell like went to like a parent night or something like that, where like parents like went out like to meet their friends, their kids' friends' parents, and Will Ferrell had a name tag that said, my name is Will," and like he just got like a kick out of that. Like Andy Richter told this story on Conan. It just seemed like so funny that Will Ferrell like got a kick out of like having a name tag on that said, "Hi, my name is Will." That just seems funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And of course, the best drinks are shared with friends, most of all.
No, absolutely.
Like my friends here.
I drank water today. They drank Jameson once again as their drink of the week. My drink of the
Dan's
week.
got to drive. He's not a pussy.
Yeah,
guys.
my drink of the week is water. It's good for you. The human body is made up a majority of water. Water is 70% of this planet Earth we live on. So treat it well.
Should we talk about our this week? What we got coming this week?
Yeah. Mike, Mike, that's all you.
So, in light of March Madness, we are actually going to be doing a March Madness of our own. And we haven't decided on the specific day, but we will be coming out with a March Madness of villains. And we will be categorizing each region by genre. And we hope by the next couple of weeks that we will have picked the greatest movie villain ever. And the plan is to knock a couple brackets down each week, and we will all bring debating points. We will not talk about it before. It will not be scripted, and we will give it our all, and it's either, if someone gets 2 votes, they advance. If someone gets 3 votes, they advance. But if you get 1 or 0, you're eliminated. And we will be posting that bracket soon, probably before our next show, so you guys can have a look at what we got. But expect that coming out Tuesday or Wednesday, and we will have a whole show dedicated to the first. We haven't decided. Maybe the first playoff or the first 2. We haven't decided, but that's going to be coming the next couple of weeks, and that's going to be a separate segment from our usual podcast. And we are very excited about it.
It's going to be a good time.
Indeed, we are.
Who's your guys' pre-pick?
To win it all,
Yeah,
I'm going Darth Vader. I think you got to go Darth Vader in this situation. I think he's just the most terrifying movie villain of all time. He kind of set the standard for movie villains, and he made like the Imperial March is made.
Guy's got his own fucking
yeah.
theme.
He's got his own theme song. He wears all black. Like when you think of bad guys, you think of Darth Vader. And it's not just because I'm a Star Wars guy. I'd just be like, Darth Vader is always people's kind of like first thoughts when you think of movie bad guys. So I'm going Darth Vader.
Ryan, what about you?
No comment.
No
yet.
comment?
I have to look at the list.
Got to debate.
I have to talk to my people, and they're going to talk to your people.
I'm going the Gestapo officer Hans Landa as my preseason pick, but we will see what happens.
It's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be a fun time.
We've got the Joker in there. We've got Voldemort. We've got
Anton Chigurh.
We've got Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. We've got the Wicked Witch of the West in there somewhere. I don't know. It's nuts. We just made a huge list of movie villains, and I'm excited to get it talking with you guys, and I'm excited for you guys to listen. But that wraps it up for this week. Ryan, you want to close us out?
Absolutely. We hope you listen to that as well. It's going to be a good time for us. We hope it's a good time for you. And that is this week's podcast. Remember to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. We are also on YouTube. Check it out. Like and subscribe our videos, please. We are also on Facebook and Twitter. The links for that will be in the description. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? just a slob like one of us. Blue, blue, blue.